What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to go over every single bet that I placed this past week, profit, losses, everything. I'm going to go through and explain why I took every single play and the exact thought process behind each slip. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Starting off with Monday, I had one play for the day. I took LeBron over 21 points and Ace Bailey over 17.5 points plus rebounds. So this was a 3.1x payout. I've been leaning more towards the higher payouts on these instead of like a 2x payout, which is what I usually shoot for. And it's been working out really well for us, especially this week because we weren't able to bet as much. And I knew that ahead of time, so I looked for those higher odd plays. This was 6,000 into 18 grand, so really good payout on that one. The reason I took LeBron was the lineup context created a clear scoring opportunity. Luka was out and SGA was out for OKC, and you guys know that I love opportunity when players are out, especially in the NBA. With primary offensive options missing, expectation was increasing and scoring responsibility alongside LeBron's usual facilitation was going to be higher than normal. So at home, he averaged 25.5 PPG over his last 8, and he's cleared this in 6 of those. And it was a pretty close spread too, give or take 6 points, which is competitive minutes. That's going to be, the good guys are going to be out for a long time in those kinds of games. OKC showed defensive vulnerability recently, including consecutive losses entering the matchup. And previous opposing stars found success attacking downhill and forcing drop coverage, which opens the paint. Opens paint scoring and secondary shot creation, which is where LeBron shines the most. Especially this season, he's been really good at that. Projections centered around LeBron increasing rim pressure and shot volume due to the roster absences. So like I said before, I love when players are out because the books have a harder time accounting for it, and you can really get a good line. In this case, he only cleared by half a point, so we did get, I don't want to say lucky, but this was a good play, but it was close to not working out for us. And for Bailey, his role expanded significantly without Keontae George. Over the last three of the last 4 games, he went over without him, and the only miss was extremely poor shooting night. I don't even remember how many shots he took because it was a while ago, but it was a horrible night for him shooting percentage-wise. He took a lot of shots, though, so the opportunity was there again. He logged 40 minutes in back-to-back games, signaling strong coaching, trust, and role stability. Miami plays at the fastest pace in the league, the number 1 fastest pace. So that means increased possessions and stat accumulation. The Heat allow top 10 production to small guards and small forwards combined categories. And recent production of 23 and 26 PR suggested the line was lagging behind current usage and minutes trend. So that was what I took for Monday. You can see right here, we took LeBron and Ace Bailey, and the P&L on that was 12 grand. So already day 1 of the week, Monday, we're up 12K. Really good start to the week. And let's move on to Tuesday. This was the 10th. I took Kawhi Leonard and Wemby, both for rebounds, over 6.5 and over 8. So I wasn't as confident on this play. I should have put more on it. I really should have, because they both comfortably cleared their lines, especially Wemby. And the payout was pretty decent too, 2.33x, really good payout. So I put 3 grand on it, which is 1 unit, and turned it into 6,990, so almost 7 grand for a profit of 3,990. And for the Kawhi Leonard play, the Clippers roster changed with Harden and Zubac departing, shifting the rebound responsibilities towards the wings. So he's averaging 8 per game across the last 3 with this new rotation. And without Harden, he cleared in 6 of 7. And without Zubac, he cleared in 7 of 9 games. Increased defensive rebounding opportunities tied directly to lineup changes rather than random variance. So again, I love when players are out. That is my number 1 trigger when I'm finding new plays. Sometimes I don't do it, but 99% of the time I'm finding games or teams with an absence, a significant absence, that shifts responsibility to not secondary playmakers, but in the stat secondary. So, Kawhi would be a secondary rebounder. For Wemby, he was averaging a career-high 11.1 rebounds per game, and he's cleared 10 plus in 8 of his last 10, averaging around 12 boards during that span. So he's got a strong historical matchup versus Lakers over in 6 of his last 8 meetings, and 14 rebound performance in their most recent match. So he can get there. The opportunities there, crazy good hit rates and averages, and the lower 8.5 line provided a cushion relative to a typical rebounding night. So I took him at 1.14. This was my alt line that I paired with the 2X, which was Kawhi Leonard. Really good payout, 2.04 just on the Kawhi play. And then so I paired that with a really low alt line just to kind of lock in a guaranteed. I knew this leg would hit, you know what I mean? It was really all down to Leonard. So that was Tuesday for us, wrapped up with, $10 under $4,000 profit. And that brings us right into Wednesday. So this was a similar play. I wasn't quite as confident, and the payout was not that good. So if this was a 2.5, 2.7 payout, I would have put 2 units on it, $6,000. But I put 1.5 instead, and I backed off. So I really liked this play, and you can see it was pretty good. He cleared this by 50. He got 50% more than he needed to, and Reed Sheppard got 17, and he only needed 8. So they both crushed their lines. I was really confident. I should have put more on it, to be honest, but the payout wasn't that great. So whenever that's the case, even if I'm confident, I don't put a ton of units on it. So for Reed Sheppard, he was coming off a 16-point performance versus the same opponent, and that created a favorable situational setup. Clippers allowed the 7th most points to small guards, 5th most above the break threes, key scoring area for Sheppard. 50% of his scoring comes from that area. Again, that's another thing I love with points props in the NBA is looking at defensive weaknesses paired with offensive strengths, specifically in the types of shooting. So he had strong back-to-back performance trend when shooting efficiency stays above the minimum threshold, and the volume expectation supported the recent shot attempts. Projection leaned on opportunity rather than elite efficiency. And that was my trigger for a really good alt line to pair with this Drew Holiday play. So for Holiday, he just got back from injury, well, a little bit ago now, and he's averaged 28.6 PRA over his last 3 since he's been back now, and he's destroyed his line every time. He's got an increased role without Shaedon Sharpe, and that's boosted his usage and playmaking responsibility. So again, you've got a good track record. Pair that with a usage increase, and season average sits near the line, 25.8. Again, that's significantly above the line. 23.5 and 25.8 that's a big gap. It doesn't seem like it, but in the betting world, that is a pretty big gap. And he's had recent efficiency spikes. So 18 points per game, 56% field goal percent, and 47% from the 3. So he's been cooking. And Minnesota is a favorable matchup in this case, as they allow the 13th most points allowed to point guards, 4th most rebounds allowed, and 15th most assists allowed. So 6 of the last 8 point guards cleared their PRA line versus Minnesota. So I knew this was going to be a good play. I went ahead and locked this in with my Reed Sheppard alt line, and honestly, 1.85 is pretty good. I probably should have picked either a higher points alt for Sheppard or something that gave me more than 1.1, so it would be more than the 2X. Either way, really good play. That brought us up $4,700, and at that point in the week, 3 days in, we're up $21,000. So I'm already thinking, damn, this is a good week. I'm ready to stop. I know there's only one more day of NBA, and that is Thursday. So this is my last NBA play of the day. I did take one more play after this on Saturday, I believe. But we'll get to that in a second. So for Donovan, double-double, this was a pretty free pick. He's recorded 3 double-doubles in his last 5, averaging 12.1 points and 13.6 rebounds across his last 10. Utah allows the 2nd most points to centers in the entire league and the 6th most rebounds. They have elite offensive rebound profile, matched Jazz's weakness, which is the 3rd most offensive boards allowed. And previous matchups produced 12 points and 17 rebounds. So this was a lock right here. And it wasn't a great payout either. So I ended up having to pair it with a 1.5 instead of typically, 1.2, something like that, to be a little safer. I was pretty confident in this play though. So Austin Reeves was a perfect 1.5 on his assist line. His usage spiked up without Luka. Again, that increased playmaking role that I talked about. I sound like a broken record, but it is the most important thing for me on NBA. His usage rate rises to 34.8% in those lineups, and he's cleared in 6 of 8 games without Luka, averaging strong potential assist volume, around 11 potential assists. And he's averaging 9 potential assists on the season now. The Mavs matchup is ideal. They're top 10 in assists allowed overall, and their last 7 opposing point guards have cleared the assist line, or their respective assist line against them. And I was expecting 30-plus minutes, and that is exactly what he got, and he got his 6 assists. Barely got it, to be fair, but this was kind of a weird game if you watched it. I'm not going to get into it too much, but we cleared our play bottom line, and it was a 2.4x, bringing us to a solid $29,655 profit on the week. And unfortunately, as you can see, we do have a loser there coming up, and that's what I'm going to get to now. So Friday, no bets, no NBA slate. I didn't really want to bet on anything, and Saturday was Valentine's Day, so I was already working ahead, and I didn't really want to play. I didn't want to be betting on the weekend, basically. So Friday, I put 2 bets in. Well, 1 bet. It's a 2-leg for Saturday, and I left it be. I didn't even watch the game. So that brings us to Saturday. I had Jaden Stone, and I had Sutton rebounds. So this was my first under of the week, and I rarely do unders, but I do like them a lot. This was just a bad play. The Jaden Stone play was fine, but the Sutton rebounds under was just not a good play. This was such a low scoring game too. It just wasn't a good game, to be honest. The reason I took him under was there was a significant drop off in his rebounding production once SEC began. Prior to January, he rarely was under this line, but afterwards he was only over it in 2 across his last 10. Tennessee ranks top 5 nationally in rebounding suppression, and the majority of Sutton's rebounds come defensively. Tennessee excels on offensive boards, limited defense, and rebound opportunities. But, we weren't able to get there based on the game script. It's fine. It happens. Not a bad write-up, not a bad play. It just didn't work out for us. In retrospect, I don't love betting on college. I think it's much less predictable, and there's a lot less data out there. And there's also so many more teams that it's, in the NBA, you get matchups all the time. But these guys, some of them have never played a school ever in their life, and now they're playing them for the first time. That happens way too often to where you don't really know the matchup. You know what I mean? You can look at the stats on other teams, but those 2 teams have never played each other, or at least with their current rosters, So it's a little different, and that's why I stay away from college. However, I do have a college play-in for today, Monday, February 16th, and you guys will see that, win or loss, in the next video. First game starts at 7. It's 5 right now, so I'll keep you guys updated on my Instagram too. Follow me over on there, at Elijah Perhala. I post my wins, my losses. You can shoot me a DM, whatever you want. I'll answer questions. But anyway, Jaden Stone over 1.5 threes. He's hit 2 or more threes in 71% of his games. So really good hit rate. And he's around 40% from the 3 with consistent volume, around 5 attempts per game. But the biggest thing was the interior scoring threat of Missouri expected to force defensive collapse, and that would create more perimeter opportunities. The projection leaned on offensive structure, generating catch and shoot looks, and he did end up getting his 2 threes. He didn't even shoot that great, to be honest, but he got his 2, and that's what matters. 1.8x, pretty good. 1.6 was the loser, which is always sucks when you lose on your lower odds play. And this was a really good payout too. It was $6,000 for $18,000. So that would have put us up over $40,000 on the week, $42,000-ish. Yeah, a little over $42,000 profit. But it was a loss, and we went down $6,000 on that day, bringing our weekly total to $23,655. So overall, my goal for each week is around $25,000 right now, so I can hit the $100,000 month mark. And we came just under that, but I'm not too mad about it because we missed out on 2 days basically that we could have been betting. I think soon I will up my unit size because my bankroll has been growing like crazy. My bankroll right now is around 300 grand. So one unit is 3,000, and I typically put 1 to 2 units on my plays, as you've seen. Sometimes 1.5, sometimes 1, sometimes half a unit, everything. I never go above 6 grand on a single play though, or 2 units on a single play. That was it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed and got something out of the video. If you want to use the same app that I use for all my plays, it's called Chalkboard. I will put the link in the description for you guys. If you sign up right now with code ZPX, you get $100 in promo to play with, and you get a free half-a-yard pick. They also give you half-yard picks all the time, once a week. There's one for the Super Bowl. There was one literally yesterday for a college game. On top of that, they give you a deposit match too. So if you put in $50, they give you $50. It's a 100% deposit match to essentially double your starting bankroll if you want to start fresh with a new book. It's the app I personally use for everything. I think it's the best app. They have the best odds, and they have amazing staff that respond to you like that. Again, if you want to join, I'll put the link in the description. Code ZPX gets you $100 to play with. Anyways, love you guys. Peace.